this is a club and a group of fans that have been through so much over the last 5, 6, 7 years. In fact, there was an entire documentary made about their struggles as well. A well-documented story. And to now find them where they are, first season back in the Premier League, 5 wins as we speak, a newly constructed side. It couldn't be any more perfect than this.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to put a downer on what they've done and what they've achieved so far this season, but to be honest, they shouldn't be in the Premier League. I do feel sorry for Coventry and Frank. I think, you know, they did nick it. But listen, they're there. And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from them. But I think Lebris, you know, heavy French influence, sporting director, has come in and they've recruited really, really well. I think what they wanted to bring in, you know, is youth, players that are fit, got a point to prove. It can be a gamble because you have to bed them all in and they have to find a bit of consistency. But, you know, they did that from the first game of the season with a great win over West Ham, and then they've just kicked on from there. And, you know, we were saying how nice it would be to change the trend of the teams being promoted, going straight back down. And, you know, they put themselves in a real opportunity. And, you know, I made the point, we were laughing in the car coming in, it's like starting a marathon and Sunderland have sprinted for the first 3 mile. And, you know, they've got themselves out in front, and, you know, they will be pegged back because there's a lot of games and the squad is small and, you know, it will take its toll at some point. But if they can amass them points on the table early, you know, that stands them in a good chance of staying in the division. Yeah,
I still think, you know, their #1 target still is to avoid relegation.
Absolutely,
regardless of the fact that they're second in the table or something silly, third in the table at the moment. It is to avoid relegation. I think this start is, well, it's a huge stepping stone to achieving that. But, you know, again, we do know how, you know, good runs can turn into bad runs, and, you know, a long way to go for them.
You know, a lot of attention has been given towards sort of like the French influence in terms of the signings that have been made. But how big of a signing has Granit Xhaka been at the heart of that midfield? Because he's been ever-present game in, game out. And today he was another fundamental, strong performance from him at the heart of that midfield as well.
Yeah, I think when teams get promoted, I think they instantly think, right, we need experience, we need Premier League experience, and they look at experience at maybe 28, 29, 30, 31-year-olds, and they bring them in. And sometimes you can question their motivation. They might have been around the Premier League, but then going to Sunderland, possibly, you know, in for a relegation fight all season, you know, what is their motivation? You know, and sometimes that can be questioned. That wasn't at the forefront of Lebris's mind. It was bring in these younger players, but I might need 1 or 2, not 4, 5, 6 experienced players. I might need 1 or 2. And he's gone and looked at Xhaka. He's moved out the Premier League. You know, he's obviously come back. But the wealth of knowledge that he'll have on the pitch and off it, I think the wealth of knowledge comes when they go through a bad patch, you know, and he's in the dressing room and he's got all the right words to say. He galvanises the team, no panic, you know, and that's where he'll be worth his weight in gold.
Yeah, without doubt. And you look at somebody like Henderson at Brentford, for example.
That's another great example.
I think there's a real similarity between those two and their respective clubs at the moment.
Yeah.